I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV for the week of June 3rd, 2015. My pick of the week this week is Action Comics number 41. This is the first part of the Truth storyline. So this is all post-Convergence. Convergence is over and done with, thank God, in the DC universe. And we're getting back to the good stuff. And I haven't read Action Comics in a good while, but I was pulled back to this because of the Free Comic Book Day comic that DC gave out called Divergence, which had a Superman short story, a Batman short story, and a Justice League short story, and they were all kind of lead-ins or previews of what was to come after Convergence. And I was really intrigued by the fact that the world now apparently knows that Clark Kent is Superman, and he is somewhat depowered, possibly completely powerless. Now he's able to leap tall buildings in kind of a single bound. So, wanted to definitely check this out, and it was not disappointed. The only disappointment is that DC's production schedule must be out of whack, because they reference Superman issue number 41 and Superman issue number 42, and neither one of them are out yet. So, we're not entirely clear how the world knows that Clark is Superman. But I was still able to really enjoy the book. The other slight detractor, and you may find this as well if you pick it up, is that to me, Clark's dialogue seems a little out of character for him. He's using the words like damn and hell, and he's and maybe that's the new 52 version of Superman, which I admittedly haven't spent a lot of time with outside of Justice League. And it's okay. I don't have anything against either of those two words. I use them frequently, but to hear them coming out of Clark Kent's mouth doesn't really work. So I'm giving you a lot of reasons to not like this book, but really, I thought that the story was very engaging and intriguing. The artwork by Aaron Kuder really blew me away. It's like, don't take this the wrong way, Frank Quitely, but it's like a better Frank Quitely. And I know a lot of people love his artwork, and I love it on Jupiter's Legacy. But I think Kuder's artwork on Action Comics is really good. So it's the first part of Truth, which is going to be a multi-part storyline crossing over into all of the Superman books. And I assume we're getting to the truth of how his identity got out there, or I don't know. But it's good. Reading about a depowered Superman in a world where everyone knows he's Clark Kent is a story that I want to read. And
this isn't going to be like Captain America Truth, where we find out that the original Superman was actually an African American who was experimented on.
It was the Superman from Multiversity.
Yes. There you go.
So it's rare. Rare is the wrong word, but I have not given DC a lot of love lately because, frankly, Marvel has been doing a better job and publishing more stuff that I want to read. But Action Comics takes the prize this week as my pick of the week.
All right, my first pick this week is Bizzaro, number 1 from DC, written by Mr. or Ms. someone named Corson. I don't know who these
One of
people
our customers.
No, that's an ad. Remember when they had, pages that told you who wrote a book? Hey, here we go. Heath Corson. He am Wordsman. And they are Artsity is Gustavo Duarte and Bill Sienkiewicz. I know how to say one of those names. All right, so this is really just fun. I did like Action Comics as well, but Bizzaro was just lighthearted ridiculosity. And this is Bizzaro on a road trip with Jimmy Olsen, and of course Bizzaro had to bring along his pet Chupacabra. That's the pitch. If that sounds awesome, you should read the book. You'll probably laugh a lot. If it doesn't sound awesome, maybe go find something else. Yeah. But no, I think DC... I applaud DC for trying to do different things. They've got this week we've got Bizzaro and Batmite. They're doing Section 8. They're doing a lot of things that aren't like what they've been doing in the New 52, and I like that. That they're getting new things out there that are interesting. And in this case, they really hit a groove that I like. It's very, very light and fun. It's humorous, but it's not stupid humor. It may be humor because people are stupid.
Humor is subjective.
Right. You know what I mean. But yeah, Bizzaro was a great pick this week.
I actually didn't read it, but I want to read it now. I actually didn't even flip through it. We were pretty busy yesterday.
There was a lot of books
this week.
There
was a lot of books to go through, and we were running behind on getting stuff checked in. So we're not you're not catching us at our best. But Still just an amazingly amount of good stuff. And just another word about DC, because we don't talk about them enough. Even their returning titles are going off in new directions this month and moving forward. So hopefully, if you've been somewhat let down by DC in the past, or if Convergence really wasn't your thing, give them another shot. Come back and check out some of these new number ones, or jump into the bold new direction of books like Action Comics or Green Lantern, which Josh will talk about in a little bit. Batman is going to be a completely new direction, so I'm really looking forward to that as well. Also on my list of things I really liked this week would be Future Imperfect #1. This is a Secret Wars book written by the creator of the Future Imperfect storyline, Mr. Peter David, artwork by Greg Land, and I was a little put off by artwork by Greg Land, but I'll circle around to that in a minute here. So Future Imperfect is a part of Battle World War the Maestro, which is the future incarnation of the Hulk, where he has defeated all of the Marvel heroes and is basically ruler over all. He's running the show of this section. Doom is running everything. The Maestro gets his little plot of the green in Battle World. And we're introduced to some familiar yet different characters. I'm trying to remember, where have we seen Ruby Summers before?
X Factor. When they were in the future in X Factor, also written by Peter David, you met Ruby Summers, who's the daughter of Emma Frost and Cyclops. I don't know chronologically how that works out with the Maestro, unless in Diamond form or in Ruby form she ages slower like Emma does.
Yeah. So, I mean, she was a pleasant surprise to see, because I did read those X Factor issues where she was there. So she's our protagonist. She helps someone, a familiar Marvel character who's kind of lost in the desert, and she takes him under her wing, and then we end up in a knockdown, drag-out battle with the Maestro, and then there's a last page reveal, which is kind of cool. So this was just a really fun, enjoyable book. And back to Mr. Land's artwork, I think it's getting better. Not so much photorealism, not so much this looks like a posed drawing. Still some of that, especially with Ruby, but even looking at the cover, which is a Greg Land cover, I think his take on the Maestro is awesome. Mm-hmm. There's a kind of like a 2-page spread or a half a page or something where it's just the Maestro filling the page, and it looks amazing. So really enjoyed it on the writing and the artwork front. This was a neck and neck with Action for my pick of the week. Highly recommend Future Imperfect, numero uno.
And my actual pick of the week this week is Years of Future Past #1, written by Marguerite Bennett, with art by Mike Norton. I thought that was Mike Norton.
I know, he's getting...
Is Battle Pug in here?
No.
I thought. So this is, you're familiar, of course, with Days of Future Past. They made a movie out of it. It is the story of things going badly for mutants in the future. The main character has always been Kitty Pryde. In Years of Future Past, we've bumped the timeline up, 15 years probably, give or take? More than a decade. And so the main character in here is actually the daughter of Kitty Pryde and Colossus. And I think it's kind of interesting because they made her, she's the last mutant born before the humans started sterilizing all the mutants. So she's literally the last mutant. There are other mutants still alive, Kitty and Colossus, and of course Wolverine will never die and will always be in every future book. But it was great because it had a lot of hallmarks that called back to the original Days of Future Past, but it had new things brought on. I liked the character interactions. I thought the steps forward they took were good, and it was just cool. I like X-Men. I like the future. Secret Wars is firing on all cylinders.
I like the past. I like the future.
I like days. I like years.
I also enjoyed it, if that helps. So both of us are on board with Years of Future Past. Loving the Art Adams cover, and Mike Norton's artwork, I think, is getting... I don't want to say getting better. Mike Norton can do a lot of different styles.
Right.
But I was very impressed by the artwork in Years of Future Past.
And a slight addendum on the Secret Wars front. Armor Wars #1 came out this week, and my initial response was I could give a crap about Armor Wars. And I would like to apologize to Armor Wars because I was wrong. I actually really enjoyed it. Written by James Robinson, who does a lot of great work. And I was wrong. Armor Wars was good.
Speaking of James Robinson, it's not on our stack of things to discuss, but Airboy #1 is out this week as well, which is a very different take on Airboy. If you want to... I don't think that's how James Robinson really is in real life, but it's told from a real-life perspective of James Robinson, and I apologize, I don't remember the name of the artist, And James Robinson's sitting in Eric Stevenson's office at Image Comics and saying, well, we've got this Airboy thing, why don't you do Airboy? And James Robinson is just like the worst person on earth.
It reminded me a lot of It's a Bird, if you remember that, where Steven Seagal, that's the writer's name?
Yeah, the
Not
martial
Seagal.
arts guy?
No. Where he's trying to figure out how to... The whole book is about him trying to figure out how to write a Superman story. This is similar in that it's about them trying to figure out how to do Airboy. And it actually was kind of... The way I think of it is like Kevin Smith. I mean, obviously, Kevin Smith isn't the people he plays on TV, even though they're based on him and his friends. You know, it's a hyper-reality. This is the same thing. You know, we see a version of James Robinson and his colleagues. If you're a fan of the what goes on in the background of comic books, of the behind-the-scenes stuff, there's tons of jokes and insults and name-dropping, and it's very interesting in that respect.
It's also full of alcohol, drugs, and sex, so if you're okay with all of that, and then Airboy... So it's worth picking up.
It's
really.
Yes. It's not like anything else on the stands this week.
Yeah, I haven't read it in a few weeks. We got an advance copy, and I haven't read it in 3 weeks, so I kind of forgot about it until you said James Robinson. So, my final pick this week is the one that probably most people are looking forward to, and that's The Amazing Spider-Man: Renew Your Vows #1, another Secret Wars book written by Dan Slott with art by Adam Kubert. This is a part of Battle World, apparently, where Peter and Mary Jane are still married, and they have a young daughter named Annie, presumably inspired by the classic comic strip and musical. And that's all you need to know. Peter and Mary Jane are married, they have a daughter, and you get to see what could have happened if they were still together, and if their child that they actually had, but was somehow retconned out of the Marvel Universe, had survived and grown up a little bit. A couple things I do want to point out. I felt I needed to talk about this because I'm such a huge fan of Dan Slott's Spider-Man run. But the art really distracted me in this. It's just not good. I'm sorry. Adam Kubert has had a long run of drawing some pretty good stuff, but this is not one of those things. So if you can look past some of the inconsistencies in the art and just focus on the story, I think you will dig it. The other thing is it looks like it's going to be taking place over several years. We also get to see Peter behave maybe a little bit out of character as well. But it is Dan Slott writing him. I assume that he has a master plan. But we've never had to deal with Peter Parker in the main Marvel Universe as a father.
Right.
So that may explain why things are going the way that they're going.
Yeah, I didn't see it as out of character. I saw it as an evolution of the character.
Yeah.
I thought,
I didn't dislike the way that the character was written. It's just anybody who's a longtime Spider-Man fan, you'll read it and you'll kind of cock your head a little bit. But I think that's part of the evolution of the character, as Josh said. So, is it good? Yes. Will you like the artwork? Maybe. Did I? No. So, I'm going to have to suffer through the next several issues, but I think the story is worth it.
And last up this week from the DC relaunch is, or whatever it is, the new DC Universe, Green Lantern 41. The title of this arc is Renegade, and he's got it made, and it's too late for a bounty. Hal Jordan is on the run. He has stolen a Nintendo Power Glove made by the Green Lantern Corps that apparently is like an Uber Green Lantern.
Wait, he can get cab rides?
Yes. And it was really cool. I don't know if I've ever read a Hal Jordan quite like this. I guess maybe a little bit in Hard Traveling Heroes, where he's like, screw you guys, I'm going to go hang out. But, I mean, he's on the run technically from the Corps. The Corps put out a bounty on him. And he's going from place to place. He's still Hal Jordan. He's still helping people when he can. But it's just a different kind of Green Lantern story. And I really liked it. Because Green Lantern, when you make your superpower willpower, you know, there's not a lot of subtlety and transparency in what you're setting up. So giving Jordan a different type of challenge is very interesting. I like the character creation going on. Oh, I'm sorry. This is written by Robert Venditti, who's been writing Lantern for a while and did a great run on Armor XO Man of War. They're all called Armor things. And art by Billy Tan?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Could be Philip Tan.
A Tan. Someone with last name Tan. But it was really good, and it's sort of danced around here, but anybody who reads any of the Solicit stuff is going to know it. And basically the Green Lantern Corps is no more. There's actually like an Alderaan moment in here where they show up and everything's like it's blown apart. But I think the interesting part was Hal didn't know about it, so we'll find out about it as Hal does, and so that is going to be presumably part of the driving force going on. Even though he's a renegade who's been thrown outside the Corps himself, it is Billy Tam. Sorry. He is going to investigate that, obviously, and run it down, because he is still a space cop, even if he doesn't have a badge anymore. So,
but he does have a Nintendo Power Glove.
He does. I swear that's what it is.
So there you have it. Just want to reiterate that this is a great week to come to comic shops. Whether you're jumping into some new DC comic stuff, whether you're loving Secret Wars and checking out all of the 8 different Secret Wars titles that come out this week, including issue number 3 of the miniseries.
If you like Star Wars?
If you like Star Wars, 3 Star Wars books came out this week. Darth Vader, Princess Leia, and Star Wars. Yes. And they were all excellent,
great.
as usual.
Public announcements. If you're reading all of them, you want to read Star Wars before you read Vader.
Which is how I read them, ironically.
Yeah, I read them backwards, and I'm like, that's kind of weird. And then I got to it, and it made sense. But.
Just so good. And really curious about the next issue of Star Wars, which is, I don't want to say it's a fill-in issue. Cassiday's last issue on art was this issue. We get Simone Bianchi coming on, or Simon Bianchi, whoever he is, doing an issue with Jason Aaron, and they work together on the Thanos series, the Thanos kind of origin story, and we're delving into Ben Kenobi's journals.
Yeah, I don't care if it is a fill-in issue. I'm amped.
Yeah, no, I'm excited too. And then Stuart Immonen comes on board as regular penciler with issue number 7.
Yes.
No, 8. Yeah, Cassidy did 6.
Was it 6? Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, really, all kinds of cool stuff. So come on in to Alter Ego, hit your local comic shop up. You don't want to take this week off. You also get some freebies, DC Comics related freebies if you hurry. And I mentioned that in a Mark's Remarks video that should be ahead of this one by a video or 2. So we do want to answer one question. We get questions all the time, but someone asked, and I should have paid attention to who it was, but you know who you are. Why don't we talk about more Valiant comics?
It was in the comments of the video, so you can scroll down and find out who it was.
Yeah, you can see it.
Not this video.
It was from episode 201.
Yes.
You can go back and check that out. Why don't you lead off with this?
We love Valiant comics. Valiant is actually more consistent in producing great comics than either of the big two. For every Hawkeye we get from Marvel, we get MODOK's 11 or whatever that terrible series was about 5 years ago. They throw a lot of stuff at the board and find out what sticks, and sometimes some of it's genuinely great. Valiant gets A-list creators or high B-list creators, depending on the book, and puts out quality stuff, and we're happy to stock it. We want people to buy it and like it. But people don't. There have been a few exceptions, but by and large, Valiant stuff doesn't move very well, and there becomes a point where we're beating our head against a wall. I want you to enjoy watching the video. If nobody cares about, for example, Exo Manowar, I don't want to talk about Exo Manowar every month, even if I personally liked it.
I think are doing some amazing work. Whether it's A-list, B-list, or C-list writers, the point is they're talented. They're telling great stories, and the artwork is really solid, which is important to me. Obviously, for me, art is half the content of a comic, so it needs to be consistently good. But we love Exo Manowar. I guess I'll speak for myself. Exo Manowar. I like Bloodshot Reborn. I'm really enjoying that, and that's a current
surprisingly
series.
Actually.
Yeah, there are 2 issues out right now. It's not too late to get into Bloodshot Reborn, and I know absolutely nothing about Bloodshot. I didn't read the previous series. Archer and Armstrong is really one of Josh's favorites. Quantum and Woody is another one that's been consistently good. Really all of them. We have people in the shop that have enjoyed Harbinger. We have what else is there?
Well, there's the Divinity miniseries, the Imperium miniseries, which is sort of an extension.
Ivar Time Walker.
Yeah, Ivar Time Walker's great.
And the first volume of that is now available. Mm-hmm. And one of the other cool things about Valiant is taking a cue from Image. Their first trades are usually $9.99. Right. So if you're looking to try something new, explore a new universe, and by no means do you have to, we answered this question in episode 200 about the DC universe and the Marvel universe, and kind of people being overwhelmed and not sure where to start. With Valiant, you don't have to read all of the other stories. You can focus on one character, and it's kind of like Marvel was in the early years, where you only had 15 titles or 12 titles, And if you wanted to, you could pick up the other books, or you get an occasional guest appearance by so-and-so. And that's the way it works in the Valiant universe as well. So it's not that we don't like Valiant. We actually really like Valiant. It just seems that no one else does. So if you enjoy it, I would suggest trying to get your friends and neighbors and family and anyone online to read those things. So give somebody a first volume trade for a birthday or Christmas present. Let them borrow yours. Leave copies of Valiant books lying around at barbershops or doctors' waiting rooms or something to try and get more people to check them out, because they are absolutely worth your time and money. So I appreciate the question, and who knows, maybe we'll be talking about Valiant next week or somewhere down the road. Probably not, though. So thanks for watching. If you do have questions, leave those in the comments below. And we do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy days to sit down with us and check out what we thought was cool. Let us know what you liked this week in the comments as well, and we'll see you maybe next week. I'm on vacation next week, so we may not be doing a video next week. Josh may shoot it with himself, which has happened before. Or maybe he'll draft Alex or Amanda into the picture. Who knows? Or he may just skip it, because we've got some other videos in the pipeline ready to go. Thanks again. See you next time.